Hello friends, and welcome to week 9 of the NPL Majors. We are up against Blake, Moxie, and Fernape, and I'm just going to jump right into it. He's not doing too hot, 2-6. We're 4-4. If we win this, and we win next week, we guarantee playoffs. And music, you need to stop. What was I saying? His team's scary. But of course, what team isn't? But we do have some fun stuff. First and foremost, we have this Cresselia. This spread is to take 2 hits 100% from Mega Pidgeot, who is very scary. Psyshock, Ice Beam for Pidgeot and Thunderous. Psyshock for General Psyshock. And if he doesn't bring Toxic or any real way to stop it, then Calm Mind plus Psyshock does a lot. Cool. Going into my rocker, we have Rock's Donphan, Spin, Earthquake, Toxic, cannot touch a Thunderous, or a Sub-Thunderous, or a Sub, Sub-Pidgeot. Both very scary, have to really play around that. Adamant because I didn't really feel like being defensive, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Decidueye is my other defensive mon this week. And a U-turn for Momentum, Brave Bird for the Virizion, Spirit Shackle for Mew, and I think something else, and then Toxic just for general coverage. Spadef, I forget for what, I think it's for Mew Shadow Balls. Speed is to outspeed anything creeping my Cresselia, and I think, yeah, anything creeping my Cresselia. And then the defense investment is just for random extra. It might be for Zygarde moves. Life Orb Gren, Dark Pulse, Ice Beam, Shuriken, Spikes. Typical stuff. Max Speed, I don't even know why. Oh, Pidgeot. I was max speed because Pidgeot's 121. I'm dumb. Bandit Tarak actually 6-0s him. As long as I outspeed everything, and the only things I don't outspeed are a Pidgeot and a Zygarde 10, which I made sure to have checks in the form of Donphan, Decidueye, Cresselia, as well as Greninja as an offensive check, and Primarina as an offensive check, which I will get to. Primarina is specs to pressure things like Gastrodon and Quillfish, which are his only water resists. Moonblast and Pump are my main 2 moves that I will be clicking. I'm timid instead of modest because I don't need modest to kill everything. If rocks are up, I kill pretty much everything with Pump or Moonblast respectively. And yeah, that's pretty much the team. Specs Prim is just gonna murder things. The only thing that really checks it is like AV Mew or Spadef Wigglytuff, but like whatever. Let's hide that. We went super fast today because it is late. I'm doing this at night instead of in the morning like I usually do. So yeah, we have here the game because I have somewhere to be in the morning. He brought Gastrodon, which makes me think it's Spadef. Zygarde could be Banded, maybe DD. Pidgeot, I'm terrified of Sub, but it could be anything. Mew could be anything. Arcanine, probably defensive. Wigglytuff, definitely defensive. Possibly Spadef with like Wish Protect, Rocks, and like Gleam or something. So we're just going to lead with it. I'm going to fire off a Moonblast on this Gastrodon because I get the lead matchup right. Any lead matchup was the lead matchup right for my Primarina, as he doesn't have a fairy resist. His fairy resist is Arcanine, so I'm just going to Moonblast. It does 70 to the Gastro, it does 54 to the Wigglytuff, but I know he's going to click Protect, so I get to go into my Bandit Terrakion, and I get to click my move, and I close combat. The Gastrodon was Fizdef, Rocky Helmet for the Kangaskhan most likely. In comes the Pidgeot. I know I'm dying, so I have to go into my Cresselia, as he fires off a Workup, which I saw a lot in mocks, and I expected as much. He crits me here. And as I see him, because I figured I'd live, I managed to survive, and I get confused, but I do manage to heal up, which is wonderful. He switches out, as now I hit myself in confusion, and I don't get to see what kind of Mew this is. I Moonlight up, as he SDs, I have to go into my Donphan expecting the Leech Life, as he does in fact reveal Leech Life. And here, instead of getting rocks, I click Earthquake because I was terrified of getting Ice Punched, which honestly was really stupid on my end. And here he makes the good play and doubles out into the Mew, as I have to now double into my Decidueye. And now I have momentum because I get to click U-turn, and this is kind of important. Here I U-turn and it does 6%. According to my calc, 6% means that he is at the very least max HP with some defense investment. After the Intimidate, and I put in the calc, and it's saying max HP, defense investment, that is the minimum it can be for that U-turn to be min damage. And I'm like, alright, so he's defensive. I could go into Donphan and get up rocks, but I might need the Donphan for the Zygarde. I might need the Donphan for the Mew, and he could just be rocks defog Pidgeot. So I could go into Donphan and force him out. I could get Toxic, whatever, get up my rocks and call that a day, or click Toxic and call that a day. But I wanted to get really greedy because defensive Arcanine just gets flat out O-code by the Terrakion, and if you look at his team, he can't switch into Terrakion because the Mew's SD, Zygarde dies, Pidgeot dies, and Wigglytuff dies. So the Arcanine is defensive according to my calc. It turns out to be an incorrect calc or something. He's saying that it should have, that he wasn't defensive and that he was just scarfed. So I guess that's a misplay on my part for, again, trusting the calc, but I got really greedy and went into Terrakion. I could have went into Donphan or gone into Primarina and then doubled into Donphan to scout for Wild Charge or something like that, because like if I made that play, then like he would be at a really big disadvantage and I would actually still keep my momentum, but that's just all hindsight. I decided I could get a kill here, and I was punished for it, as he just stays in to CC me, expecting me, I guess, to not click the water move when his only water resist is gone. He goes into Zy10, and I know that I need this still for stuff like Wigglytuff and potentially Mew. So in comes the Owl. He stays in as I just U-turn. I expected Crunch, but whatever. Here he clicks Arrows as I just set up my rocks. And here I decide to click Earthquake. No, I double into my Owl, sacking it, and it ends up getting me momentum. I lied, it doesn't get me momentum because I just sacked my Owl. And I get to go into my Prim. And here he had SD. He had SD. He had Leech Life. He had, I don't remember what else he had, but I thought there was zero way that he would have a move to hit me because I lived a Zen Headbutt. Turns out he has Thunder Punch, and I end up sacking my Primarina for literally nothing. I could have scouted for that, maybe. I could have gone anything. I don't even know what I could have done, but like here I'm like on tilt because of that Mew set, and I Earthquake the Pidgeot. In comes the Pidgeot on my crest. I'm just going to Ice Beam here, I believe. Yep, I don't want it to heal up, and I Psyshock here instead of Ice Beaming because I figured he'd roost, but I end up losing my Cresselia because of that, when it potentially could have done quite a bit, but c'est la vie. In comes the Wigglytuff. I can't touch the Wigglytuff, so I have to make some sort of aggressive play into the Donphan as he gets a Wish. And he's just going to protect to heal himself up, and that's fine. That's whatever. The game is pretty much over at this point because I can't kill the Wigglytuff unless he lets me kill it, which seems to be the case. So I do kill the Wigglytuff. There we go. In comes the Zy10. If I had Ice Shard, this would be a very different game, but I don't have Ice Shard. I have Toxic instead. and that will be my downfall because now I can't kill. If I got the Ice Shard off, he couldn't kill this Donphan with his Mew, at least not well. And based on how he was playing and the fact that he hasn't taken any leftovers recovery, he's obviously Cold Braviary, so I have to rely on the Dark Pulse flinch here. And I don't get it, and I lose this game 1-0, which is kind of detrimental to me because I had not an awful matchup, but it wasn't a great matchup. I think it was relatively even, actually, but I had a really hard time building for this. I think in terms of the 6 he brought and the 6 I brought, I think the matchup was even, but I think overall, I think he had a better match. He had a better draft when placed against me. I don't even know what I'm trying to say, man. It's late. I want to go to bed. But I think overall he had a better matchup against me, but the 6 he brought, my 6 were a good answer to. I just ended up playing it really greedy, and I lost my Terrakion and my Primarina for pretty much nothing. Granted, the Primarina I couldn't really do anything about. I didn't know what else I could have gone into. I couldn't have read I wasn't going to predict the Thunder Punch and go into my Donphan. I needed that thing alive and healthy. I don't know. It's unfortunate. And now my playoff chance comes down to Blake versus Cheese. So that's kind of exciting. I play Adam, and I need to beat him, and Cheese needs to lose. So Blake needs to carry this momentum into next game and beat Cheese, and then I have to bounce back and beat Adam, and then I make it to playoffs. And if I make it to playoffs, I'll feel very confident in my chances to move forward, because all my playoff opponents, I feel, are people that I had good matchups against, or at least I played well against. I don't think there was any huge issue in any of them. I can't remember who's making playoffs, and at the very least I'll get to play new people potentially. So that's that. I'm kind of rambling now for 2 minutes. I'm going to call it here as the music plays, and I will see you guys next week with me v Adam. Peace!